Ooh.
Hello and welcome. My name is Sean Phelan, and this is the first FYB Rugby Round Table. And over the coming weeks, we'll be taking on the biggest topics in grassroots rugby. And in this first episode, we are going to talk about player recruitment and retention. And joining me tonight are Robert Holmes of Racal Decca, who's not currently here, but he will be here in a moment. Stephen Leach of Staines RFC, and Jessica Hayden, who is a rugby journalist and plays for Epping Upper Clapton RFC. How are we?
Hiya.
Evening. Doing good, thank you.
It's good to be here, chatting again.
Yes, chatting again. If anyone was with us on Sunday, we were at the virtual rugby show, and we had this great debate that went on far too long and wasn't long enough. So that is where this has been born out of. This was kind of sort of the genesis. We just wanted to sort of elongate the conversation. So here we are. So this discussion is going to be entirely interactive. So get your questions in on the chat function, and we will go through them as we go along this evening. This is going to last sort of 45 minutes. But yeah, so we'd just like to welcome you all. Stay with us, and we'll have a great chat. So we wanted to start where we left off on Sunday, which was we started talking about what makes a good club to join, but more importantly, what makes a good club to stay with. So, Steve, what makes Staines a really good club to stay with?
We've been working really hard on the environment of the club to move it from that traditional boys club that it had been for a number of years to being a community base and welcoming everybody in. I think bringing the likes of Harlequins threes in, the ladies side from them, has helped move that on tenfold in the last 12 months, and just making it a nice place for the kids to be as well. We entertain from 4 years old up to vets, so we've got quite a diverse set of people to cater for. So just making it a friendly, warm place to be. Make sure the clubhouse is welcoming. And have some decent facilities.
Do you think much has changed over the years?
In terms of our outlook,
has changed over the years.
In terms of our outlook, I think Sean. I think we had gone down the traditional rugby's going professional, so we need to target going up the leagues as quick as possible. Whereas now we're probably over the last 3-4 years, we've been really concentrating on being that community rugby club again.
Yeah. And Jess, welcome. Thanks for coming back.
Hi. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here again.
From a sort of a female perspective, what would attract you to joining a club? If you were starting out, what would attract you to joining a new team?
So I've been playing for five years, and what originally attracted me to play rugby was the social atmosphere of it. So I think for girls starting out, for young women, or to be fair, women of any age, I think it's just having that community side of it and seeing that there's friendships to be made. So I think that's a really important thing, especially I guess as women get older and they're kind of looking for ways to make new friends and stuff. I think that's one way to get women into the game. But I think if you're looking at if you're a high level club and you're looking to recruit players to really bring through, then I think it's just making it very clear that you are putting the facilities and the investment behind the women and making sure that there's good coaching, good changing rooms that aren't going to be, full of, I hate to say it, but if they're the men's, really men, they smell of men, then it's not going to be great for women. Make sure the showers work and that the floor isn't covered in mud, then you'll probably attract some more women.
For sure. Steve, what type of how often do new players come to a club like Staines?
Well, they evacuated very quickly about 6 years ago. We lost 75 players. So some work that
Wow.
we've done around social media and being visual in the local community brings in.
What was the reason for that?
I think it was a political reason that players left. It wasn't anything to do with
Right.
rugby. Unfortunately, it was to do with some decisions that went the wrong way, which we're still trying to recoup from, really, player-wise. But we've got a good squad of senior men now. We've got a good mini section. We're working on a youth section, and we've, as I say, we haven't tried to start a ladies section, but we wanted to have ladies rugby at our club. So hence where Bina was talking about on Sunday with Harlequins ladies threes coming in. I guess we get I think we had 19 new players last year that either returned to rugby in general or returned to a club that they left when they were 16, 17. So it was nice to get those guys back.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds like it's been a sort of it was a rough few years for a time, but now things are on the up. Jess, what more could be done from county bodies or RFUs to promote the women's game and bring more people into these grassroots clubs, especially if they're starting teams?
Yeah, I think having taster days for women, obviously, if we talk, we'll talk through the different ways, but if you're a club, a community club and looking to get more women playing, then have a, taster day, have something really to let girls and women play rugby, see what it's like. Then I think on a broader scale, the unions or clusters, etc., could do a lot to have more tournaments so that you're actually playing more, because it's quite difficult for development teams to get games. Obviously, you've got to, when you're starting a team, you've got to wait until you can actually join a league. So having development tournaments is a really good way to kind of get more teams starting. And then I think there's just a wider thing about making sure that you're watching the women's games in the clubs. If England are playing, if you're in England, if you're in Wales, if Wales are playing, have it on the telly. It's probably going to be on the telly, so watch it, have it on in the club, encourage people to really respect and value women's rugby and don't see it as comparing it to men's all the time. And I think those kind of things really help to encourage women into your club.
No, for sure. Let's we'll now bring Robert Holmes into the conversation, hopefully. Let's see if he's there. Is he there? Can you hear us, Rob? I'd take that as a no.
Just to add to what Jess was saying.
We'll come back to him. Yeah. Sorry, Steve.
We were looking at partnering with Brunel and Royal Holloway for women's and males students to come down and do some kind of rugby program under lights to help with recruitment for Quins and Staines. So that could be a way to introduce female rugby into your club if that's what you want to look at.
Oh yeah, if you're close to a university, then definitely try and get some university teams in, because most universities have a first and a second women's team now, and you just have massive groups of girls who want to play. So definitely, have a look at your local university if you're lucky enough to have one close by.
Steve, how did the relationship with Harlequins Threes come about?
So it had been something that had been on the boil for about 3 years. They were training at Old Isleworthians and they were looking at new homes all over the place. I think they tried Grasshoppers. But as we are about 500 yards away from the Stoop, it had always been a conversation, and we managed to get it agreed that they started last season. And they've loved it. Having changing rooms, a bar to sit in and socialise after training on a Thursday, and a nice pitch to play on Sunday. Yeah.
Sounds lovely.
That's great. Yeah. How, Steve? Sorry, I'll come back to you again. there's so many clubs in the London area, especially in sort of southwest London, West London area. How do you promote yourselves differently to attract the new members than someone else would, perhaps?
I guess we don't try and reinvent the wheel, really, Sean. We put ourselves out there as a brand. Maybe the thing we do different is we welcome those clubs in. We've opened the doors to Woking and Whitton Lions recently to come and train with us on a Thursday evening. And they were part of the initial Barbarian side that we put together alongside Fill Your Boots to get rugby played. So it's those kind of initiatives, really, being an inclusive club that people can get to and come and just enjoy rugby.
Do you think there's anything to be said for being different than the club down the road? There's so many clubs. There's so many clubs.
I mean, we stand out in Middlesex in the fact that we own and operate our own facilities. There's not many that can bolster the facilities that Staines have. It's both a blessing and a curse, because the costs that are associated to having 14 acres and 6 pitches and a clubhouse, you need to be able to operate the business model correctly. But in the same vein, there's not many other first team pitches at our level of rugby at level 10 that are the same as we have. So in terms of that, sure. We probably stand out from that way.
Yeah, for sure. Just about the Welsh women's game. How competitive is it there to pick up? How many clubs in Wales do have women's teams?
So how many clubs in Wales have women's teams? Is that what you asked? Yeah. So there is there is a really good competitive domestic structure in Wales. So you have the Welsh Premiership for the women, and Swansea top that pretty much year on year. Then you have the regional setup. So it mirrors the men's in that sense. So you have the 4 regions, and the problem is that it's not very competitive. Games don't get played. So the Dragons this year actually couldn't fulfil their region. So we lost a region in essence. So we had basically 3 regions who played like a one day tournament. That was it. And so we saw loads of players from Wales, including, Captain Siwan Lillycrap going to Bristol. So we are kind of losing some of our best players to the Premier 15s. I say this as if I'm Welsh. I am from Essex, but I'm in Wales now, and Welsh rugby is definitely an area of a specialism for me. So yeah, Wales are losing a lot of women to England leagues, and they need to do a lot more to kind of to push the domestic women's game.
Well, yeah, there's a whole sort of generation of talent now that need to have somewhere to play, and if they haven't got somewhere to play, then we're going to lose them to other sports. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because at the moment we're seeing that a lot of someone said that there's 34 clubs in Wales for women's rugby. So there you are. One problem is that it's kind of along the M4 corridor. A lot of the clubs, and there isn't as much kind of in mid and North Wales. You have got a really good hub in North Wales for women's rugby around RGC, Carnarvon. It is good up there, but that's basically it. There are massive areas within Wales that don't have a nearby team. I think one problem especially is that, the under-18s women's rugby is pretty poor for the regions. They rarely play, if ever. And it just means that the Wales national team has so many players who only started playing at university, and that's because there wasn't really anything under the age of 18 to be able to play. Yeah, for sure. I think we can now bring Robert in. I can see him drinking wine or some sort. Hey, hey, Robert. Hey. Finally.
two laptops and blame Bill Gates and his window updates on a Wednesday.
Someone's had a long. Someone's had a hard day at work.
Yes, very much.
How are
so.
you?
I'm well. How is everybody? Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again.
Evening, Rob.
You too.
Rob, we were just talking about what makes clubs a good. How do you make a good club to join and actually sort of keep people at that club? Me and you play for the same club, and we don't have anything really apart from set of shirts, maybe a couple of rugby balls. So tell us or tell everybody how we go about trying to find a new member and keep them. More importantly, is keep them.
Yeah, I think our biggest asset, or in fact our only asset, is our membership based and our current players. We do not have anything else. Like you say, we've got a bit of training equipment, a few balls, and some nice shirts. And when I joined the club 20 years ago now, I came from a football background. Walked into a changing room with me and a friend of mine turned up that were mates outside of rugby. Walked in, didn't really know anybody, but immediately was introduced to a set of fellas. There was no cliques. There was no airs and graces, and you literally got taken in on face value. You got ripped apart with a banter, but not, it wasn't malicious. It was a case of, we need to find something that we can latch onto, and then you kind of go from there. But then you kind of get exposed. So that's your kind of first impressions. If you kind of go in, everyone's kind of ribbing each other, but it's not. It's certainly not over the top. We've got quite a diverse club in regards to the kind of backgrounds of our members. You've got guys there that run their own companies. You've got young fellas there that are in their first job after leaving full-time education in their late teens and early 20s. So, the level of banter is fairly basic, so it kind of goes across everybody. But you also get the older heads that come in and literally put an arm around you and kind of teach you the way of the club. And that's not something that's ever been documented or it just is what it is. It's just how it works. And then you kind of get involved in the larger the larger social circles of going for a drink after the game and then your tours and so on and so forth. And also we have a bit of a kind of back to the wall mentality at our club because we are in an area that's heavily densely populated with a lot of large clubs. And like I say, we are the smallest of the small. So we've got that kind of, not chip on your shoulder, but that thing of, we've got something that a lot of these clubs haven't got. In fact, they've got a lot of stuff that we haven't got. But what we've got is the fact that we are fully aware of who we are. And actually, we work as individuals. We work very hard during the course of that week to free up our time to actually come together. And that, I think, that's the culture of our club, is that we know exactly who we are. And I think that helps. And I certainly saw it in my late teens and early 20s. You go to other rugby clubs where they haven't quite got their own way, their own culture figured out. And they're not quite, because people have been around together for a long time. People have a tendency to be clicking. We're not like that. You walked into our changing room, or if anyone walks into our changing room, there'll be guys that have known each other for decades.
Yeah.
But there's also guys that might be in their third or fourth game. I think it'd be really difficult to find out in the first 20 minutes who those people are. Spend the day with us and it'll come to light. But, so I think it's, like I said, we know who we are. Our culture is that we literally need everybody that's willing to put a shirt on to put a shirt on. And if that sounds desperate, it's because normally we are. Which is why things like Fill Your Boots have been invaluable to us, because it gives us the opportunity to bring in people from outside. And again, it's only on every now and again, or these guys that come to us on one-off. We've got guys that have played for us probably 4 or 5 times a season when their game hasn't happened. And that's only because when they walk in, you put the shirt on, you're one of us. You're always one of us. You're never not one of us. Even when you're on the opposition, for you playing for your club normally, you're still really one of us. That's the mentality that we've got. Whether they know it or not, I'm not quite sure. But it's I think, like I said, we've got a very clear we've got a very clear identification of what we are and who we are.
Yeah, we definitely do. We're a family, and well, every club will say that they're a family, but we definitely are. As I said on Sunday, our club is full of people I've grown up with. I've been around since birth, so people I've grown up with. My dad, my brother-in-law, Robert is one of my best friends. I've got other best friends that have played, and I've got close friends and everybody in between, really. We're a tight-knit group, and we always want people to come and join that tight-knit group to keep things moving and hopefully be there for the next generation. Right, let's take a question. The chat, is it going to pop up on the screen?
It's on.
Yeah, I can see it.
It's gone.
Oh, happiness is egg-shaped is out there. Well done, Bruce.
It's gone.
Nice.
Where's it gone?
I know, I've got it.
Yep, I can see it. Joe Marley.
Here we go. Joe, do you think having a strong youth section at a club is a key factor in player retention? Steve, you've got a mini section and junior section at Staines. Do you think it's a big marketing tool?
I think it would definitely help, especially for longevity of your senior playing sides. So you're not looking to bring in players all the time. You know that you've got, with a strong youth section, you know that you've got 16, 17, 20 lads coming through every year that can bolster that senior setup. Lets you plan more, so you can have a 5, 6, 10-year plan for your club and development and know which direction you want to go in. If you can retain them from the 4-year-old that comes in to have a bit of fun all the way through, then you've got a club member for life. Unless you support those people to go on to achieve higher things within the rugby. Yeah,
definitely. If you've got a really good junior section that has lots of kids coming through, then the idea is that you're going to keep moving them up and moving them into the seconds and first teams. Let's find another one. Bruce, you're busy, mate. Get a job.
And in answer to Bruce, yes, you can. You are an honorary Decca boy. You've threatened to play for us a couple of times, but like I say, once you're in, you're in. So we've accepted you, so you're definitely in.
I just was going to add, Sean, on that point about keeping players in. I guess it depends if you mean keeping them in as adults, because I think a really important thing there is making sure that once teenagers kind of lose their way with rugby a bit, that there's always a welcome club back for them. When people go off to university, making sure that the club is supportive of them coming back and playing. I think it is really important about having a strong youth section and making lasting friendships, because players are going to come back because that's where their friends are. I do think it is really important.
Yeah, I think we said on Sunday about the teams locally that do the special under-23 fixtures around Christmas times to keep those students engaged.
Yeah, it's really important because it's a drop-off point, isn't it, for rugby? You go to uni and then you think, oh, I'll leave it then. I'll stop playing when I'm at uni and that's it. And you don't come back to your grassroots club. So I think, making sure that you're doing, events at Christmas which involve rugby to get the players who are home from university back playing. And then, those under-23 fixtures are such a good idea.
Yeah, one thing I didn't get a chance to talk about on Sunday. So,
all yours, Rob.
So one thing I didn't get a chance to talk about on Sunday is we've had to very much evolve as a club mainly because of our numbers have dwindled in certain years. And like I say, we use Fill Your Boots quite a lot. And actually last year, what we did was we teamed up with another club, a third team of Pearly John Fisher, if there's any of you out there. Nice to see you again, and we'll hopefully do it again this year. We teamed up with Pearly John Fisher thirds, who were struggling to fulfill games. The indication I got is they're almost kind of a club within a club. The ones and twos have a tendency to move up and down, but the thirds will pretty much stay as they are. And so last year we had games that were identified for both clubs where we would send, we wouldn't have a fixture, and anybody that was available to us would go to and play for Pearly John Fisher in their colours. And likewise, their third team would not have their own fixture, but send anybody that they had available to us and play under our colours. We had that set to happen once a month from September through until March, and we actually got a couple of games out of it. And you know, the ability to kind of do something like that, which is quite bold, to almost turn around and go, oh, everyone that's available for us is going to go and play for another club. I don't think you'll get a great deal of clubs that would be willing to do that. But in our position, it was a case of, well, if they're going to return the favour and we're going to do it, that just creates almost a bigger player pool for those days. We can also then focus our guys that can't play every single week to turn around and go, well, okay, I can play 3 or 4 times this season due to work commitments. What I will do is I won't make myself available for when I'm going to be playing for Pearly John. I want to go and play in my own shirt. So it gives our members the ability and our captain the ability to, if you've got players on the fringes that can only make 1 or 2 games, to go, look, pinpoint these games around that, because if we've only got 8 available on those days and we go to Pearly John and we're playing in Pearly John colours, that's 8 players that is going to be there more. It also then benefits whoever we're playing against or they're playing against, because you end up with 8 bodies that turn up that just want to run out. And at our level at social rugby, to be honest, if you're there at the game, you just want to go and have a go. You don't really care what colour shirt you're wearing, because we're not particularly precious about it. And so it almost ends up that 3 clubs benefit on those weekends. So coming up with ways and means and ways to kind of pivot away from being kind of, oh, you play for us or not at all, or we play under our own umbrella or not at all, that's worked quite well for us. And I think that's something that we'll certainly be looking to do. And that the inspiration of that came off the back of the kind of fill your boots of taking that model one step further and actually pinpointing these games at the start of the season and identifying individual weekends where we would have that happen.
Yeah, it worked pretty well for us last year. I think I played for a couple of the games for the Pearly John Fisher, and it was a great laugh. And to be honest, yeah, rugby's rugby at the end of the day, and that's kind of the spirit of Philly Boots, is that we want games to happen, but at the end of the day, rugby's rugby. So go and take your kit bag, go down to the local club and help them out as much as possible, because without everybody, we're not going to survive. This comment might be a bit too long to show on the screen, but we'll give it a go.
I think that comment probably stands.
Sandra, with many community teams trying to set up women's teams, often on the doorstep of other fledgling women's teams, what can be done to make sure we don't have too many clubs with a small handful of players who then struggle to make a squad for a fixture, postponing time after time and letting other clubs down with no shows?
Do you want me to take that one? It's something that was a particular problem in Wales, and I think there was somebody in the comments who was talking about this as well, so you'll be familiar with it, that there were a number of women's teams starting up all very close to one another in Swansea, and what it meant was that a lot of fixtures just didn't happen. Games were constantly postponed. Games were called off because there were not enough players at all. They were all spread out between different clubs. So it became like a hub. It was called the West Swansea Hawks. And a similar thing has happened in so many places in Wales and England. There was a cap on if you could start a women's team because we had so many of them. The rugby unions do keep an eye on this. So the RFU do have a look at, I don't know if you're in England or where you are, but the unions do keep a really keen eye on this. And if games are constantly being postponed, then they do have a look at and see why that is. It's kind of to do with who's in your area for the RFU. If that is a problem in your area, then you can always go and talk to your officer in your area. You'll probably have a contact at the RFU. But yeah, you are right. Maybe we do need to kind of pull resources into one hub of where women are playing. But women's rugby is the fastest growing women's sport in the UK at the moment. We will see more women play. Hopefully we'll get to a point in the near future where we won't need to have these hubs, and we can have community teams popping up everywhere, and fixtures are still fulfilled. So if you have any other questions on that, I might be able to help a little bit more.
I think the same can be said for
that's great.
for men's rugby clubs as well, though.
Go on, Steve.
Sorry,
Definitely.
I think the same.
Definitely agree. I was just about to say.
Yeah, the ability to set up a rugby club seems to be for anybody now, without the thought of what the impact is on the surrounding existing clubs. Just in general, not putting it at any type of form of the game.
If this is to sort of all of us, if you were starting a brand new rugby club, what would the advice be?
Don't do it.
Men's or women's. What would your
Don't do it, Steve.
Yeah, don't start a new one. Go to your local club that's existing.
Yeah.
Yes. Hashtag support your local rugby club.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. We have enough all around the UK now that I don't really see the need to start new ones. At least try and support a local club before one would be started. But if you were trying to make it, we could talk about ways that in an ideal world, if we were going to start a rugby club, what would it have there? Yeah.
Money. That's for sure. Be my advice.
I mean, from the other side of the coin, the sort of Staines that have got kind of many sides, minis and all sorts. I mean, for us, the beauty is we don't have anything. So at this precise moment in time, when we don't have any, the only revenue that we have to have is our match fees. So it's kind of ideal for us. The difficulty is when it comes to going back to training. We had a meeting last night talking about going back to training. Certainly with this phased approach, it's going to be quite difficult for us to get back out there. However, it's I do worry about those larger clubs and how they're going to cope after all of this is back. Is Staines Bar open this weekend, and how long in miles is the queue to the bar going to be?
Yeah, we're aiming to open for our members. Yeah. But yeah, I suppose it all depends on the weather this weekend, Robert.
Right, I know there's a lot of clubs that are going back to training this week, and a lot of clubs are putting dates out there for training soon. So, anyone who is going back this weekend or training this week, best of luck.
Yeah, no, I think our fitness training starts next week. Unfortunately,
yeah. What's that type of training?
Yeah, bar training.
Must be a new kind, Rob. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, no. I heard a rumor about it once, and we soon got that out of our club.
Yeah, keep that out.
Yeah, definitely missed the first 4 weeks of pre-season. Wait till the balls come out and the tackle pads come out. That's when I start to get involved.
I mean, I don't know about
not this running stuff.
I mean, I don't know about the rest of you. There's one or two of our older heads that would only turn up for games in November. So if our season doesn't start until then, they could pretty much get the whole term in.
Right, let's take another question, and this from Andy Lowe. With the funding from the RFU, Grassroots Rugby, how are clubs going to try and make up the shortfall to keep going and try and improve the women's juniors teams? Thanks, Andy. We are going to do one of these on funding and sponsorship and fundraising and all that in the coming weeks. So, but we will have people come on and answer that deeply. But Rob, we don't have anything to. We certainly don't have anything to add on that. But Steve, you said the bar is going to begin to open. How much is that needed to help Staines sort of recover from the periods that we've lost over the recent months?
I mean, we can't wait until we can actually host events again. Our main money earner is hiring our facilities. We'll open for members this weekend, but that will start to cost us money. So we'll probably lose money from the second we open the doors to keep our membership happy. But yeah, we would be reliant on the big corporate functions, private parties that we would normally host. So having a facility of our size comes with its costs, and running it is something we have to be careful with.
Yeah, on Sunday afternoon.
Sure. Absolutely. It's going to be tough for everybody.
I was listening to, was it Steve Granger, the RDO director for the RFU? I was listening to his bit on Sunday after we finished at 2:00, and he was saying that some rugby clubs have been quite innovative with their bookings. For example, he mentioned one case in point where a rugby club had hired out their car park that was well lit to a netball club, so the netball club could train on at their facilities. So I wonder if Staines could then have a look. Could they bring in another sport to use a bit of their ground for a specific reason? I know you can't go inside yet, but certainly outdoors. I would imagine that there will be football clubs, for example, that can't play. That maybe have council grounds that aren't open, or school grounds that can't open. Perhaps that's an option for you to branch out and to get other sports in through the doors.
Yeah, it's something we're looking at all the time, Rob. We've got a junior football club, FC Sunbury, that use our facilities, and we've got 4, soon to be 5 personal trainers that use the grounds for their boot camps and one-on-one sessions at the minute. Not massive money earners for us, but they're keeping us ticking over.
But also, I suppose it also elevates to those trainers and these clients who you are.
Yeah, it actually lets people know where the club is. So many people in our community didn't actually know that we were a rugby club, or that we had a facility that you could hire. And over the last 3-4 years, we've been working hard to change that.
Nice work.
Yeah, definitely. Keep telling people, and people will eventually come. I'm conscious of time, so let's take some more questions. Again from Sandra: what social media platforms have the group seen most productive for player recruitment, or is there another method that is more successful?
I think
there is also a comment underneath that says there's another comment underneath that says some squads use Tinder. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I think
Jess, you were saying Facebook.
Yeah, I think Facebook is the best. It makes it very easy to have the groups, the group function, so you can have your team on there. And it's good for advertising and joining like local community groups and stuff like that. An outside one, but this Nextdoor app, I don't know if you guys use it, but it's become quite a big thing this year, especially in lockdown. If you don't know about it, it's basically like a social media platform for your neighbours. And that's quite a good one to post about your local club for people who might not know, and it helps spread the word. But yeah, I think you can't really beat Facebook. Twitter is good, but it doesn't have the kind of group function that Facebook has. So yeah, I think we are kind of limited when you're looking at a team sport to be able to communicate and everything as well. Then yeah, we use Facebook.
Yeah, we're the same. We've Facebook ads. I mean, Sean did our Facebook ads, and that worked quite well. We got another 2 or 3 guys that have stuck around for a bit for us this year. So because you can really kind of pinpoint who that your market that you're after. Yeah, Facebook ads were certainly the best for us, and obviously we're across all social media platforms. But you're right, it's difficult to get traction. I'm not quite sure my wife would be too happy if my face popped up on Tinder. I think I'd be more unhappy if she saw
what
it.
Would she be doing looking on there too?
I would be more upset if she saw it. So I'm not quite sure I'll be able to square that one away. But you never know. To be fair, I'm not exactly the poster boy for our club to a certain extent. I'm not sure this is really the image that will get players flocking.
Maybe a different type of hooker.
Very much so.
Yeah, we used Facebook ads during the World Cup. We did the Rugby World Cup. We did the whole 6 weeks of the Rugby World Cup, and we spent maybe £100. And if you've got someone in your club that knows how to do all that, then you're laughing really, because you can pinpoint down to literally the street that you want to target. So we did ours around the sort of 5 to 10 miles around where our club would normally be based. And we got a couple of people out of it, which was really cool. And it gets you the sort of the brand and the club's face out there a little bit more to people that may not have seen us before.
One thing that we continue to do as well, there's a local free magazine that gets circulated where our club is. We actively advertised in that for 1 or 2 editions. It comes out on a monthly basis, but we're still in their classified ads. So a lot of areas have these free papers that come out. Like I say, you have to pay for the advertising, but a lot of them also run a classifieds page, which is free to take part in.
We lost him.
I think so.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
There's a question, I don't know while Sean's Wi-Fi's gone, but it's what is the hope for the positives to come out of this situation?
I mean, for us, the positives at our club has been the level of volunteers that we've had come down and do work at the club. So we've been renovating the toilets in our event space, and that's all been done by club volunteers that have got the skills to do it. So bringing the club together closer with our membership has been a massive positive for us to come out of this.
Yeah, we had online quizzes that were running every week, and our attendance to those is kind of waned after doing it for 13 weeks. But we certainly had some older heads that were taking part in it, which was nice to see, and nice to keep that contact with those as well. So I think that I'm hoping that through our membership, everyone's really, really missed it. I think absence making the art grow fonder is probably the biggest thing for every club, because what I'm hoping is that we really have trouble trying to pick a side on that first weekend, because everyone and their brother wants to come out and have a go. So I think that's. I'm not quite sure the training in the summer will be as well attended. It never normally is, but I'm hoping that once we get up and playing again, that's certainly something that we can look forward to.
Sean, we're just answering the question, and what is the hope for the positives to come out of the situation? We just answered that.
Yeah, okay. What do I think the positives will be? The bodies will have a rest, for sure. People's playing careers might last a little bit longer.
Definitely.
Mine's a bit battered, a bit bruised these days. But elongated pre-season or prolongated summer, which is pretty good. We'll take one final question. This one is from Chris, because I'm conscious of time. I don't want to keep everyone here too long tonight. What is the thought on getting juniors back with basic handling and fitness only any longer, and we'll be losing them to other sports that are open already? Steve?
That's a good comment, and something we battle with. Our under 13s are back doing some fitness, and I'll be working with our newly appointed director of rugby to see how we can get our younger age groups back doing something. But they love playing rugby, so trying getting them into to not play rugby will be the challenge. But one that we're looking forward to taking on at our club. I'm sure we can get them in to do something. We've got plenty of space that they can socially distance train, so we'll get them on and get them in.
Chris, I'd also look at something called Lions Sports Academy. They've got a great program together on their webpage, which is sort of a 3-month program for juniors to sort of get back into the game and do fitness drills and a bit of sort of strength work. I would definitely take a look at their website. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but it's a really good system, so I'm told, and a lot of kids are using it. So Mark says no, keep going. Unfortunately, there's PTA meetings and player meetings to get to, but it's been great fun. We'll definitely do this again next week. We'll have another topic and another set of guests, and we'll put that together in the next couple of days. Rob and Jess, thank you so much for spending Sunday and now this evening with us. It was great to talk to you over the last few days. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Have definitely. Thanks.
That's been brilliant to be involved. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah, it's been really good. And I saw Jess's tweet earlier. You're after players to contact players that are playing in the Middle East.
Yeah. I've got some players now. Thanks, Bruce, in the comments as well. I write, obviously, rugby journalist. I've offered looking for players. So I'm on Twitter @_Jess Hayden. I'm always looking out to chat to players and clubs and writing about rugby. So yeah.
I look forward to the feature on Racal Decca RFC once we get back playing.
I do think it's a very interesting.
I've got a website. I've got a website. You can have free reign. Steve, Rob, Jess, thank you very much. If you want to watch this again, YouTube pretty shortly, and we will do this again next Thursday. 6:30. Details of that will come out in the next couple of days. But thank you everyone for your comments. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you again soon. Cheers.
Cheers, Sean.
Bye-bye.
Bye.